Hello everyone, I bet you're wondering, how do you beat Roguelike Prototype? Well, here I'm going to be helping you beat easy mode. Essentially, if you can't beat easy mode in this game, then you're going to struggle with the more difficult levels. And in order to make significant progress in Roguelike Prototype, you're probably going to need some influence. Now, I already have a decent amount of influence. Thankfully, you don't need any influence to follow this guide, so I'm just going to be passing on pretty much everything that's unnecessary. You're going to take the rogue class, and there are certain things you're going to be looking for, okay? So first of all, if you have any points, put them in strength. Next, what are you looking for in your build? Most of these things you see here, not necessary. What you are looking for is Executioner's Greatsword, Heal, Iron Armor, let's see, Orc Totem, Ruby Amulet, and let's see, I think, yeah, at the start, that's all you're looking for. Once you get Executioner's Greatsword, oh wait, there's one more, Lunge. Lunge right here. Once you get Executioner's Greatsword, there are going to be two more swords that appear. You're going to want to pick up either one of the sword and commit to that sword, and that's what you're going to be using to kill everything. Now, I pressed Q and switched my sword, not the axe. Since I'm putting all my points into strength, I'm going to kill a lot of enemies. Now, there's a big downside. Obviously, you're a little fragile, but as you can see, you kill everything in one hit, basically, or if you've slightly lower strength, it might be two hits. I'm also going to be leveling up faster because of my influence, but again, you do not need the little influence benefits to be able to beat the game on this higher difficulty. Nothing that I need, pass, 50 gold. All points into strength. Now, you do need to have a degree of dodging, somewhat. Honestly, I find it difficult to imagine you would struggle even if you're really bad at dodging. But as you can see, if you don't dodge, like I'm doing right now, and you're just walking up to enemies, you start to take a lot of damage. Pressing spacebar will allow you to roll. That's going to make your life way easier. There's iron armor. Let me grab that and equip it. Increase my strength. Here we go, iron armor. Anyway, to continue on this, we're going to just keep going. This game can be a bit time consuming, but we're on the fastest mode. So, in order to beat most enemies in easy quick, you just walk up and hold left click on them. There isn't too much complexity. As you could see with the skeleton, you usually want to stay out of their circle, but if you do enough damage, you don't have to dodge. This is where it gets into you really don't need to be good at the game. In this mode, you just need to know what you're doing and you should be able to get through. Now, what you're going to want to do here is find the stat up and invest all your money in it. If you can't, then I usually go for a trinket or even a level up. But since the stat up's right here, I'm going to take it. I invested almost all my money and invested all into strength. Now, once you have 50 strength, you can get Brute, which will cause you to inflict extra damage to nearby enemies. And since you're killing all the enemies by running up to them, that's not going to be a problem, is it? So again, you just spacebar to roll towards enemies, and then left click them to kill them. Enemies are going to struggle to kill you, so you don't really have to worry much about dying. You just force your way through all the crowds. Right now I'm choosing not to dodge just to show you all how straightforward this is. Alright, now that's Executioner's Longsword. I'm going to pick it up, which is going to unlock two new recipes for me. I'm going to equip the new sword. Let's see. And also, if you hit enemies, you generate rage. Why is that important? Well, the game doesn't tell you this anywhere from what I can tell, but if you press Control, you can use a spin attack, which consumes rage. And as you can see, the spin is a little valuable. And with that, we now get a tier 3 sword, the Orc Chieftain's Greatsword. So either one that comes from the Executioner's Sword, being the Grimstone Greatsword, or the Orc Chieftain. Technically, if you get Vainglory, that's like the best sword you can get. But as you can see, statistically, you aren't going to get it. 1 in 1600. So we're still looking for now lunge. We're looking for lunge. We're looking for heal. And then other than that, we're just focusing on increasing our strength and making our existing gear stronger. If we manage to get the amulet for constitution, that's handy, but not at all necessary. Since again, this is nice and easy. Okay, we're running up, killing. Nothing needed, pass. Up the strength. Next level. Let's see, how far are we in right now? 21%. A bunch of skeletons run up. Easily dealt with though. Higher strength. And we go right down. Encounter cleared. Mini boss time, remember? Whichever one it is, your best method is just to kill them. You do so much damage, they won't be a threat to you. Now, you notice a lot of them have this pattern where they just spawn circles around themselves and you can just hit and walk away. They just are not threats to you. Max out the strength. And now we keep going with the first boss. The Cage of Tortured Souls. Now, this won't matter much since it's an easy boss in this mode, but let me explain. Red mode, it has a lot of offensive attacks. First, it has the regular smash, then it has a smash and then that kind of semicircle. And red has one more type of attack. One where, as you can see, it hits near the middle of itself and then just kind of covers the map. Purple is the same except as a range attack which can stun you. It has a couple other colors. It can turn cyan, in which case it'll shoot so many range attacks around itself that you should run away. And then it also has, of course, green. And if it turns green, it's going to summon a bunch of enemies which will run into you and blow up. Okay, we're going to pick up Overpower, which will make our attacks bleed. And we got Stat Up again, so you know what that means. Spend all of our money on Stat Up. And now where are those stats going? Right into Strength. Ready up. Encounter cleared. Here we go. So you can hit enemies, generate rage, and then if you want, you can press Control for a spin. Now these enemies are dealing some damage, so try to dodge a bit. Use the spacebar, dash. If you have lunge, lunge is also a tool that can be used for dashing. I'm committing to my Orc Chieftain sword, but I definitely could have taken that other sword, since it's another tier 3 sword. And now, back to killing all the enemies. Remember, you should be able to follow this guide on your very first run of the game. You don't need to be good at the game, you don't need to have a ton of influence. This is simple enough that other than a basic concept of dodging, you should be fine. Just try to stand outside of the attacks, and you are all clear. I see where the range attacks are coming, so I just don't walk towards the attacks. I walk towards the enemies. Dead. And one more. Dead. Upgrade the sword. Raise the strength. And here we go. Encounter cleared. Now, regular enemies, as you can see, they are no threat at all at this point. You should have so much strength that they can't hurt you. Perfect. Now we have heal. Now, why is heal so valuable? Well, you take damage. And while I don't think that you're going to end up losing, I put it on 1. It doesn't matter what number you put it on. Heal means that if you take some damage, you can just recover it. You just aim your mouse at yourself. Let's see if I can take some damage here. Yeah, there you go. I took some damage. I use heal on myself, and suddenly all that injury goes right away. Anyway, as usual, you just hold left click on the enemy and they die. And now that I have heal, I can mess up and get away with it. So I hold left click on the enemy, they die. Nice and simple. And now that I have 150 strength, I get tackle, which boosts my dash to be dangerous to enemies. Now we're facing the Orc Juggernaut. Now, you might think, does anything change with this boss? Do you have to take this boss more seriously? Nope. Hold left click, try not to die, and you are golden. That's it. That's really it. No special strategy really. If you have a heal, you're extra safe, but really, you can definitely play it cautiously. If you had less damage than me, you might have been slight more danger, but just keep following this. And I will say, if this guy doesn't work, the game might have been updated since then. Check if this is outdated. I because you never know. They might nerf things. They might change how the game functions. Yeah, just hold left click on enemies and they will all surely die. Right over here, dead. Right over here, dead. Over here, nothing important. Pass. Increase strength. Encounter cleared. And now we go to the next floor. We're now halfway through. It only took 11 minutes to get halfway through. The game says it takes 9 minutes. That's just so far off. Like, it's kind of funny how far off it is. These little enemies will shoot range attacks. They can sometimes box you in like this. It's annoying, and all you can do is just wait until it's over. Remember, Grimstone Greatsword can be a replacement for the Orc Chieftain weapon. In this run, it should be so easy that it doesn't matter which. I just recommend you pick up one of the two. This is definitely not the only way to go through the game, but this is a very easy way to go through the game and win. Okay, just keep striking those enemies. Just keep walking up and striking them. If you're injured, heal. Dead. There's a effect right now where if any of them die, they come back. Don't worry. Just kill them all twice. Dead. Nothing important, so we pass. Raise our strength to 200. Once your strength hits 200, that's when you get extra strong. Do you know why? Well, it looks like I'm going to switch tackle out for Unstoppable Force, which ignores most of enemy resistances, making it much easier to kill tank enemies. Alright, encounter cleared. Mini boss time, let's see it. Remember, hold left click on the boss. Try to stay outside of the red circles whenever you're not able to just take big hits. Okay, I'm holding left click and aiming my mouse at the enemies. And sure enough, that's enough to win. There's Ruby Amulet, which increases Constitution. You're going to pick this up just because, hey, it'll reduce the chance that you suddenly die. Amulet, every level you have in it, gives you 5 Constitution, and you get about 3 health per Constitution, so it's like an easy 12, 15 health. I don't know the exact formula, so that's why I'm saying about. Never bothered to actually count. Alright, so I'm just running into enemies. And then, sure enough, every time I walk near them, I just click and they're dead. I can press heal and regain lost health. Walk up, dead. Increase my strength. Now, this strategy is less effective on higher difficulties if you don't have a proper amount of influence. So if you want to bring this into higher difficulties, I really hope that you're bringing an adequate amount of influence. Alright, so this is the Orc Chieftain. Like in easy mode, you can often just not even have to dodge attacks. In higher difficulties, you're often forced to dodge attacks, meaning you require higher levels of skill to progress in those modes. Of course, for Chieftain, I'm so strong that I didn't need to really dodge. And now I'm going to keep increasing my strength. And we're actually pretty close, 64% through. And sure enough, there are stat increases. We're going to get those. 18 more. invest it all into strength, because how else are we going to one-shot enemies? Thunderstorm. Dead, 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 dead. Through here. All of them just die. It's nice and simple. Every time you enter one of these levels, you just walk up and left click them. Or if they have more health, you can hold left click. But since the difficulty is so low, Ruby Amulet, you really don't need to worry about them surviving that many hits. Only mini bosses and bosses can survive several hits. One shot. One shot. Another killed in just one shot. And with that, the level is done. Now, we've been pretty unlucky. I don't think Lunge has ever appeared. If Lunge appears, it's fantastic. It's extra dashes. That dashes deal damage. And dashes are stronger than your ordinary dash, from what I can tell. Okay, another mini-boss round. You know the drill. Hold left-click on the mini-bosses, and they will die. If you get low, you can use your heal. Remember, try to practice basic dodging skills, otherwise you might take a lot of damage. And in some cases like that, it looks like you're outside of the attack, but you still get hit. Don't worry though, it's easy mode, so you have plenty of lives to lose. So, let's see. Boom. Now we're going to run through here. Encounter cleared. One shot. One shot. Everything will die in one shot, other than, of course, the aforementioned bosses. At this point, we're now getting awfully close to higher levels. Now, some of you might be wondering, what do you get out of this, right? You get influence, and what that influence is going to be used for is later encounters. Like in normal mode, it is very useful to have the influence perk of culling. With culling, you can remove a bunch of things useless to you, and it will essentially make your run much more likely to get useful things. Culling is basically, it's not required, but it's required if you want to get stronger builds faster. You have to get some pretty high skill level plays if you want to bypass it. So try to avoid the attacks. Either way, though, this boss will be easily dealt with. As you can see, when I stop dodging, I'm still killing them. Skip, upgrade the sword, and then look at that. I increased my strength. This is the last shop of the run, so you have to use your money wisely. There's a stat up, so of course, I spend all my money on the stat up. And where's that strength going? You're right, it's going in strength. Why else would I say strength going? Okay? Now over here, the game's going to hit you with multiple bosses. First off, it looks like the boss that we're randomly getting is the Cage of Tortured Souls. I'm standing in the middle of them and holding left click, which allowed me to hit both at once. Now they actually have a nasty set of damage, which is why they could quickly burst me down. But with basic dodging skills, they're easy to handle. Ooh, Iron Armor upgrade and Ruby Amulet upgrade. At this point, I actually don't recommend you get upgrades. If you skip, you get 25 influence each time you skip, meaning you can get 50 per boss. I just did that for the extra durability, but I don't usually recommend going that way. Here's the Orc Juggernaut. Remember, you can just hold left click and the Orc Juggernaut will die pretty quickly. Let's get out of that big circle. That would have hurt. When the first one dies, a second Orc Juggernaut appears. Let's get out of the big circle, and then with that, we should be able to win. Just hold left click. Dead. Skip one, skip two, and then all points into strength. Now the Orc Chieftain. We're going to go through here, and if you haven't figured out the pattern, you wait until you're near the boss, and then you hold left click. Actually, you want to get out of that. That would have hurt. Okay. So now you can, whoa, okay. Now they're making you dodge a little more. You have a bunch of lives you can afford to lose. But let's try not to make you lose lives here if you can avoid it. Oh shoot, I got trapped in a box from shadows. Let's kill shadows right here. What do you say? There you go. Now shadows can't interrupt. And the chieftain's dead, which means the next level appears after we spend our points. All in strength. Here's the Crypt Keeper. Now, Crypt Keeper has a bunch of patterns, but guess what? You don't need to know any of them. Same thing happens before. You just walk up, hold left click. The Crypt Keeper is often too slow to actually kill you in this low difficulty. This enemy is such low health that you can kill them in just a couple hits. Another Fallen Shadows appears, but just like the first one, ooh, lunge. Now I'm going to skip. Let me put lunge on my left shift. Increase my strength. And this brings us into the final boss of the run. This is the one most able to end your run. But if you have 8 lives like I do right now, the boss can't really do much. So here is the boss. I'm just going to walk around them in circles while holding left click on them. They will actually kill you, unlike regular enemies, if you just stand in them. But as you can see, this first life I had, I halved their health by just standing there. So now I'm going to run up and now hold left click again. I'm going to dash and use lunge on them, which boosts the damage if you have high strength, which of course you should have high strength. Walk around in circles. You're going to die again. This is why it's so important to get to this point with lots of lives. You can die once or twice, but you can get away with just holding left click on them if you have lots of lives to sacrifice. Right there, you might have noticed that the game just suddenly froze, but you have more lives to sacrifice. So with that, I'm just going to walk up, hold left click, just a little more, and with that, skip twice, and you just managed to beat the boss. And I believe if you do a quick, easy from start to finish, you get like 750 influence. So that was pretty straightforward. Again, you don't need to even be able to be too good at dodging. Just have some basic dodging skills. Hopefully this helps everyone. I hope you'll enjoy it, and I'll see you all next time. Thanks for watching.